This is Launching Your Daughter podcast, and I'm your host, Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Now, here is today's episode. Episode 35. Welcome. Today's episode are for all my parent listeners out there and the roles that you have been doing over the last year, well, really years. Parenting is a full-time job with both its challenges and rewards. At the time of this recording, it is December, and we await for the new year to begin. I am inviting all parents to set aside some time and reflect on your role as a parent. Most parents that I work with struggle to see what they are doing well or celebrate how they have broken some negative family patterns such as abuse. So today, I'm asking you to get out some paper and a pen and set some time for you to reflect, well, either by yourself and or with your partner, and explore what has gone well for the year, areas you may want to adjust or change for next year, and what you are grateful for. Once you have done this, you may want to encourage your daughters to do the same. Many tween and teen girls struggle with seeing their strengths, obstacles they have overcome, and the courage that is within them. You never know, this may become a family tradition at the end of the year. So why do we reflect? Well, reflecting is important no matter what your age is, because if we don't give ourselves permission to really look back, how can we make healthier choices going forward? I often hear it's like, well, I want things to change, yet the person continues to do the same behavior over and over, and you're going to get the same results. So today I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean by reflecting and acknowledging your successes as a role model for your daughter or daughters. For parents who grew up in an abusive home, and what I mean by abuse, that could be the physical abuse, verbal abuse, or neglectful parenting, meaning there's no food in the home, no lights, that sort of thing is neglect, and you have stopped that cycle of violence, I hope you can acknowledge your courage and your bravery for being intentional and not passing that cycle on to your daughter and her future relationships. When you grow up in a violent or chaotic home, it impacts your thinking, your emotions, your beliefs, and your relationships. When you stop this cycle, not only does it help you create a more secure attachment to your daughter, it helps decrease violence in the next generation and in our world. This is a huge deal, and I hope you can allow yourself to acknowledge your bravery. In episode 12, Anne Halleck shares her work in trauma-informed yoga and working with women in regaining confidence, building resilience, and healing from those past hurts. So as you look back and reflect, how did you stop the cycle? What are you doing differently than what you grew up in? You don't need to come from a traumatic background to know parenting can be tough. In episode 14, I spoke with Mercedes Samudio about her work in helping parents explore their unique parenting powers and unlocking them. If you haven't listened to that episode, I encourage you to do so. Then explore what do you do as a parent that is unique to your family and empowers your daughter because of it. Another struggle I hear more from moms than dads, but I know both genders can struggle with this, is being imperfect. In episode 15, I discuss this with Sharon Martin, and in episode 25 with Melvin Varghese. We discuss the importance of gaining the awareness of when our perfectionism tries to control every aspect of our life, how that impacts our relationships, and how role modeling self-acceptance is important for our teenagers to see. Pause and reflect on the moments this past year you felt vulnerable. Like maybe you raised your voice at your daughter because you were feeling overwhelmed in that moment. You then went back to her later to do a relationship repair. You acknowledged how it impacted her and you apologized. How does your role modeling being authentic and imperfect help her be more resilient and courageous? Maybe this year you encouraged your daughter to actually get into the kitchen more, so she will have the skills when she moves out. In episode 22, Jill Castle and I discuss the importance of knowing how to cook, that which can benefit both parents and their daughters. Or maybe you became more aware of how you talked about food or your body image because you noticed a change in your daughter's behavior at mealtime or with food in general. In episode 26, Jennifer McGurk shares ways to create a healthier relationship with food. What are you doing that empowers your daughter to love all parts of herself or encourages her to take risk in the kitchen? Another area of struggle I often see in my practice is parents trying to make their daughters do homework or behave or do a certain behavior. In episode 32, Lisa D'Amour shares how we can't make teenagers do anything, and that's so true. She shares healthier ways parents can set boundaries and consequences for their daughters regarding homework. In episode 33, I talk about boundaries and why they are important. So think back on what you've done over the year in boundary setting, whether it is with homework, household chores, etc., and how you are setting your daughter up for success in critical thinking skills, resiliency, and perseverance. She's going to need those skills for the rest of her life, and especially if she decides to go into college, she's still going to have obstacles and things that happen. And so teaching her early on, especially starting in middle school before she gets to high school, can be really helpful. But either way, wherever you're really teaching her that skill of taking responsibility for her own actions and the consequences that come with that can benefit her for the rest of her life. How are you more mentally strong this year? In episode 28, Amy Marin shares what mentally strong people don't do and what parents can do to role model to their teenagers in taking calculated risk. How we think impacts our emotions and behaviors, and we do have the power to change them. How have you changed your self-talk to be more empowered? How have you supported your daughter in facing fears because you have faced yours? Now that you have written down some of your accomplishments for the year, pause and just sit in how you feel about what you've achieved. You are brave. You are courageous. You are enough. You are imperfect, and you continue to show up every day being the best parent you can be. Thank you for your work as a parent, for embracing your vulnerabilities, for role modeling how to love yourself and to give love, for raising tween and teen girls to be more empowered, courageous, and strong. I also want to invite you to explore behaviors or things your daughter did over the year that helped you be a better parent or a person. What are some of the lessons you learned from her, and what are you grateful for because of those lessons? Share those with her. Remember, we learn from one another and we practice our skills in relationship, whether those skills are healthy or unhealthy. If you want to change a specific behavior in the next year, write it down. Share it with your partner or another trusted adult, or during a family meeting, and then track your progress. I believe we are all capable of making healthier choices in our lives, and it all starts with reflecting. As this year comes to a close, I hope you and your family enjoy whatever your ritual or tradition is that acknowledges this past year and welcomes in the new year. I want to say thank you for all of my guests who have come on my show to share their wisdom and their expertise with all of my parent listeners. And there were so many great guests on this year, and I know I'm going to forget some of them, but I just want to give a shout out to Amanda, Nikisha, to Laura, to Kirsten, to Charlotte, to Jonathan, to Maya, to Jessica, to Stacy, to Marnie, and if I've forgotten somebody, I apologize. But for everybody who's come on and shared their knowledge and their expertise, I am so grateful for that, and I hope you've all found that helpful. I want to thank all the parents who have written to me and asked for more things that they're looking for in the coming episodes that I'm going to have for 2017. So again, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate the feedback that I have been getting. And I encourage you to go out to launchingyourdaughter.com and sign up for the newsletter. I've got some new groups starting in 2017, and I hope you can partake in them. Thank you for listening to Launching Your Daughter with Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. For more information or to stay up to date, go to launchingyourdaughter.com. You can sign up for my email list or join my Facebook group. Thank you.